disse que não era dizer que era uma pessoa estável. Ele não podia suportar a pressão que se dá.
Não, não quero mais mortos.
Tem jeito de te convencer a ficar?
E começamos mais uma live.
Sim. Você sempre esteve aqui cuidando de mim e me protegendo. E quando eu te mandei a mensagem, não duvidei. Podia ter chamado qualquer um. Mas eu só consigo pensar em você.
E eu, Maria?
Não quis lembrar isso.
Eu sei, mas se ele tivesse aqui, quem você chamaria?
E você?
Pelo quê? Eu sou casado, isso quer dizer.
Você está casado com Deus, está casado com esse povo e eu não quero te ferir. Eu não quero te separar de ninguém.
Come on, Toby. We have some work for you to do. Let us go to Kew Gardens.
Quer que eu responda?
Vai discutir de novo.
Eu não quero ficar nessa situação. É uma coisa que eu tenho certeza.
Qual o problema? O peixe está tirando o peixe. Não está bom. O peixe não está bom. O que é isso? Deixa eu ver aqui.
Let us take Toby to the laboratory. He will pick up the scent of this mysterious substance.
Isso vai te trazer sorte.
E lá, vamos
Search,
com o
Toby.
cachorro.
Search.
Seguindo o fudum. E aí, GX, tudo certo? Não dá pra aprender todos, GX. Tá? Só dá pra aprender um por vez. Fora o calor, tá todo mundo ótimo aqui. Foi escondido aqui.
Congratulations, Toby. Now let us see what you have found. This is the bottle that was used in the laboratory. It was buried here.
Seria bom, né?
There is still some liquid remaining in the bottle, with gold flakes. A tiny caterpillar. Not surprising to see one in a garden, but at the bottom of a bottle.
É, isso também seria bom.
What should we do next, Holmes?
Misto frio é bom, né? Pergunta, GX, tu prefere misto frio ou misto quente? É, eu também sou mais ou menos assim também. Cada um tem suas vantagens, né?
Let us determine just what we have found here. Let us pour liquid from the bottle into a test tube to perform an analysis. This is the bottle that we found hidden at...
No seminário então, o senhor me contou. Como mais eu poderia saber?
Olha aí. Chega de casa.
Uma cafeína.
a colorless, water-based liquid. Quite a strong floral aroma.
Holmes? What are you doing?
It has a bitter taste.
What if it's poisonous?
Did you ever see poison stored in enormous jars like that? Anyway, there is a doctor nearby.
Temos cara envenenado, plantas desaparecidas e Sherlock Holmes sendo um suicida.
Let us vaporize the liquid and see what happens.
Cássio.
Small colorless crystals. Colorless, tiny crystals that are soluble in water, with a floral smell and a bitter taste. Watson, could you pass me that small bottle, please?
Of course. Here you are. Holmes, do you know what it is?
Wagner's reagent. There was a label on the bottle that you passed to me.
No, Holmes, I meant the bottle we found.
Let me add the reagent and see if there is any sediment, and then I shall tell you. Red sediment, just as I suspected. This liquid is of organic origin. It contains some alkaloid. Most likely it is unstable, and that is why there is a quantity of gold dust to prevent contamination. This mixture is probably a fertilizer. Someone was carrying out unusual experiments in the garden's laboratory.
É, beber um pouco de água antes da live.
What should we do next, Holmes?
Esse é um caso que eu não tenho certeza de quem eu tô duvidando. Não, eu tô meio fraco de anime.
I perceive that you are passionate about the Royal Navy.
Passionate? No, not really. I like ships, that is all.
Are you quite sure? You do not seem to be so interested in plants.
It's difficult, that's all. My future is here. There's never been about anything else.
And yet I know that the Royal Naval College rejected your application.
Ah, you truly are as clever as they say. Yes, that's correct. And in fact, my father was strongly against the idea. He did his best to ruin my plans, although I almost did succeed. But my dreams were shattered, Mr. Holmes.
Thank you, young man. We shall see you again soon. What is your opinion of Albert as a student of botany?
Useless. I often tell him so, and I can only give him cleaning tasks. Botany is not his life's work, and his father well knew it. He was furious about it.
He was?
Oh yes, he forced his son to work here, and he never missed an opportunity to criticize him publicly.
Are you able to elaborate on that?
Well, for example, with our last exhibition here, Mr. Dunn had Albert make a presentation speech. But then, while the lad was speaking, Mr. Dunn interrupted him, asking him difficult questions, making him look like a failure. It was with the intention of making a fool of him, Mr. Holmes.
That must have been terribly humiliating.
Yes, he was crushed, and he had to leave. Everybody was making fun of poor Albert. That is, except for Miss Margaret White, who was such a nice lady and who always takes pity on Albert.
You mentioned a Miss White. Would you tell us more about her?
She is a student who works here part-time. She is quite charming indeed. She possesses a great talent for botany. You should take a look at some of her experiments that she carried out in the laboratory. Ah, if only she were not so naive.
Why naive?
The way she used to flutter around Mr. Montague Dunn. And why, he couldn't help but be flattered by all her attention. How could an intelligent woman such as Miss White not see through his game? I can only scratch my head and wonder.
Mr. Hamish, was someone from your family connected with Kew Gardens?
Family? No. I'm the only one with a passion for botany.
I do not think so. This photograph of you and your father at Kew Gardens suggests the opposite.
But you have no right to.
Do tell us more about your father.
He was, indeed, the greatest botanist of his time in the British Empire. He worked together with Montague Dunn until the end of his life. He brought me in at the age of 12.
Did he get on well with Mr. Dunn?
No, I couldn't say that. They expanded Kew Gardens together, that was all. And it was all my father's work. But Dunn always lived the high life.
So Mr. Dunn was not helping your father?
Oh yes, he provided the financial support. And as far as he was concerned, that fulfilled his role. But the worst of it was, he declared himself as the master of Kew Gardens. Fame meant nothing to my father. So it was easy for Mr. Dunn to take all the credit.
There is a bust of Montague Dunn in the nursery.
A bust? Oh, that old thing. Further proof of that outrageous ego of his.
But why in that room in particular?
Oh, I don't know. It has always been there.
It is strange, because I recovered a fragment of the bust inside the Colonial Collection Room.
Really? Oh, well, so I am mistaken. It ought to have been removed during the cleanup. This room is so small.
Do you know who moved it?
I have no idea. Surely Mr. Dunn requested it. Do you have any more questions like this? Because fragments of rock are not my responsibility.
Evidently. Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall continue our investigation.
Ah, eu vi. Eu vi. Ah, eu adoro isso.
Aí fica difícil, né? Aí fica difícil. Aqui em Santos de vez em quando venta, mas também não é aquela grande coisa não.
Kew Gardens is such an exciting place. Wouldn't you agree?
Calor sem vento é um problema.
This place is beautiful, Holmes. Its atmosphere is remarkably soothing.
Let us find someone who could help us.
Quer sacar o pé, Douglas? Não, fica parecendo. Aí sacar um caralho.
Porra.
Caralho. Senti agora no filme mafioso.
O que é até engraçado, porque eu tô jogando Sherlock Holmes aqui, né?
Fragments of a flower pot. It fell down here. The Kew Gardens symbol.
Estranho.
A fragment of a flower pot. A fragment of... Good day to you, sir. My name is Sherlock.
I am exalting the sun. A while can you wait? From the trace of elements and moreover from the quality of the ambient geotropism it depends. Therefore, please, mind my gravitropism. Its balance, do not disturb.
Disturbed is most definitely the word.
There. Completed is the symbiosis. Welcome you are. To introduce myself I shall. I am the Green Grand Mystic.
The Green Grand Mystic himself.
This is me. Who am I speaking to?
We are two gentlemen who are extremely interested in the vegetation philosophy that is advocated by this establishment.
Listening to you, I am.
We should like to take a look around, to immerse ourselves in the wisdom that emanates from here.
It is a school of anastomosis, the divine scholastic syndicate for vegetation veneration and meditation. You may say, the divine syndicate. Glory to the eukaryotic. Only true devotees, those whose hearts are ready to spermatophize in sharing of knowledge, are permitted to physically enter our vegetable kingdom and its wisdom. And to be permitted, you must earn it. Yes.
Do you have friends at Kew Gardens?
None. Not worthy there. None. Not worthy there.
Nevertheless, we have seen Kew Gardens flower pots in your yard. How could they happen to be there?
What? Our sacred place you permitted yourself to search. Sacrilege.
No, really now. There was a theft of plants at Kew Gardens a matter of days ago, and we believe the pots we found here may be connected with it. Please tell us, were you involved?
No. Those plants were ours. They had stolen them from us.
How so?
Their director, Dump, I believe.
Done.
Yes, that's what I said. He borrowed from us 3 of our sisters for the exhibition at his green-fly-infested gardens. But he never gave them back to us. Excuses and imbecility. So we went in and saved them.
I see. So, if you stole those rare plants from them, then it means... Ah, I get it. Bravo, Holmes. I think the case is solved.
No, we did not steal. We saved. Well, as a matter of fact, we were unable to find our 3 plants.
I beg your pardon. And yet, you took all of the exotic plants from the stand.
They had disappeared. It was the least we could do. They stole our sisters, and so we stole theirs.
Green Grand Mystic, we are ready to become devotees and gain access to your temple.
What is the name of our Lord, our God King?
Our God King's name is Triwan, Green Grand Mystic.
Oh la, good, I like you. Here is the holy key to the wisdom place. Holy donation, can you make whenever you so wish?
Thank you so much.
I pray you to taste our fertilizer substance. From the burdens of life it helps to free.
But of course.
Raw sap, it is called. It is near the entrance.
Well, we will leave you to your meditation.
Isso é uma atitude correta. Não deixando de trazer.
That should be the raw sap that the Green Grand Mystic spoke of.
This is rather delicious, and of an excellent quality.
My word, Holmes. Their sap is like a form of cocaine.
You came to make a donation? Glory to Triwan!
This must be Triwan, the Divine Syndicate's god. This door is locked, but I can try to open it.
Tá lá agora, ele já teve e voltou. Aham, sim.
This substance is an alkaloid, the same as in the bottle we found in the bushes at Kew Gardens. This cabinet is full of chemicals. They are the same as the ones we found in the laboratory at Kew Gardens.
Que bizarro.
That would be enough to perform the most difficult of chemical experiments. A vast amount of opium. These instruments are used for smoking opium.
list of plant friends and benefactors, lawyers, well-known manufacturers, political leaders.
Que estranho. Fala.
You came to make a donation? Glory to Triwan!
Follow my path, and better you will fear.
Não falar nada.
Vamos falar.
This green, grand, mystic fellow seems rather suspicious, Holmes. What should we do next, Holmes?
A map of London and the surrounding area.
Aqui não tem mais nada. Vamos ver aqui o Gardens.
Just be careful with the plants during your inspection.
No. Eu achei as plantas lá na casa do Irão Verde. Cotão, tudo certo? Tô bem, cara. A única coisa chata é que o caso aqui tá empacado. Isso aqui é a porta? É, pra cá eu não vim. Maravilha. Que bom, cara, que bom.
Caterpillars. They are raised as food for certain plants. Let's take them.
Uhum. Que bom que tu tá bem, cara.
A tropical plant. Nothing of interest. A tropical plant. Nothing of interest. A tropical plant. Nothing of interest. A tropical. A tropical plant. A tropical.
Muita planta aqui, mas nenhuma delas é interessante.
These 3 plants are identical to the ones shown at the exhibition. I shall take them.
Tá. Muito quente onde tu mora, ô?
We can begin
Cotão?
our experiment. I imagine that one of these plants would be capable of releasing a toxic vapor. I need to find out exactly how it could be done. I shall begin now. Watson, if you are at all optimistic to have dinner this evening, then I'd recommend that you put on the gas mask.
Dois cafés com pouco de leite. Não, cuidado com um pouco leite e eu quero mais. Mas não pode.
This plant becomes inactive after being drenched with alkaloid. This plant becomes inactive after being drenched with alkaloid. It appears to open after being soaked with alkaloid. How interesting. What a strong and effective defensive mechanism. I find the behavior of predators utterly fascinating. It closed again. I believe I saw a small cloud of gas. I wonder what secrets this plant is hiding. Perhaps if we agitate it to a greater extent whilst it is opened, it will reveal a little more. I am interested in what might occur if the prickly plant should shoot at it. It appears to open after being soaked with alkaloid. This plant seems to have had no reaction from the cap. It closed again. I believe I saw a small cloud of gas. I wonder what secret. I am interested in what my... It appears to open after being soaked with alkaloid. This plant becomes inactive.
No.
Toxic gas with spores. Extraordinary.
The plants would be capable of killing only if they were directly next to the victim and stimulated at precisely the right moment.
Let us take our caterpillars to the Colonial Collection Room. We may see things more clearly there.
It is too early, Watson. Our suspects will be there. Let us investigate Kew Gardens one more time and ask some questions.
Doideira. O engraçado é que o livro que o Holmes está lendo, o nome do jogo é o mesmo, né? Crime and Punishment. Cacete.
Can you tell me if you saw Mr. Montague Dunn on the day of his death?
Yes, of course. I met him, and we went to see Albert, his son, at around 9:30. He appeared quite calm.
What were you doing on the morning of the accident?
After paying multiple visits to Albert, I had a little talk with Miss White. Then I returned to my desk to complete some paperwork. Suddenly I observed that Mr. Dunn was not feeling well, so I ran immediately to fetch Albert. I clearly remember that it was around 10:30, for I was late that morning.
Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall continue our investigation.
Vamos ver se o tiozinho bate com o que ele falou.
Your father's death does seem highly suspicious. What were your movements here on that day?
Suspicious? Well, I was working in the seed house, taking care of Lysa, something, or Lear, Pontus, or... No, wait. Ah, these Latin names. I spent so many hours trying to memorize them.
Did you see your father that day?
Yes. He came here with Mr. Hamish for his weekly visit. There was nothing unusual about that.
And then?
Nothing. They stepped out to the backyard. It was perhaps 20 minutes before 10 o'clock. Then about 10 minutes later, I saw my father heading for the dry tropics room while Mr. Hamish returned here.
And Mr. Hamish and Miss White, what were they both doing that morning?
Mr. Hamish visited me a couple of times. I also saw him returning from talking with Miss White, and that was at 10 minutes past 10. But then he ran back here to me to tell me that my father was feeling unwell. We hurried across to the water lily room, and I found my father lying dead on the floor. Oh my God.
Thank you, young man. We shall see you again soon.
Vamos procurar a senhora White. Cheguei a vir pra cá? Não.
A water tank.
Tem alguma coisa de útil aqui ou só curiosidade?
A ventilation system. It should regulate the temperature of the staff buildings. A ventilation system. It should regulate.
Tá. É algo interessante, mas não funciona sozinho. Ok, sai da porcaria do caminho, Watson.
Can you tell me what Mr. Dunn was doing upon the day of his death?
I can, but there is nothing very special to say. I was in the laboratory when I saw Mr. Dunn heading towards me. Tuesday is the day of his weekly visit. It was supposed to be at 9, but he was 10 minutes late, as usual.
And then?
Well, he came in to say good morning. Then I saw him spend 2 or 3 minutes by the plants outside the laboratory. After that, he ran out in the direction of the nursery, where Mr. Hamish was working. He was always in a rush during the inspection, you see. I would pity anyone who stood in his way.
And that was the last time you saw him?
Yes. I stayed in the laboratory until 20 minutes to 11, when I heard the cries of Albert and Mr. Hamish from the large glass house.
I joined them as soon as I could, for I knew that something must be very wrong.
What exactly were you doing in the laboratory?
I was recording an experiment for my thesis. I only stopped my work once when Mr. Hamish visited me briefly around 10 o'clock.
You say you were recording an experiment when the tragedy occurred. Might I listen to the roll?
Certainly. Please do. You will find it in the laboratory. It is number 320.
Thank you, miss.
Everyone has gone, Holmes. The way is clear.
When Montague Dunn was standing close by the plants, the caterpillars were released and caused the deadly spores to activate. Panicking, and likely already half asphyxiated, Montague Dunn started back and knocked over the bust. He rushed to the door, but it was locked. He had to force it open with his shoulder. We already know the outcome. Montague Dunn collapsed and died not far from the pool.
Well, it is time to perform our experiment on the ventilation system. The caterpillars could only fall from the ventilation duct. Our caterpillars are in place. I'll activate the ventilation system so that they fall down. Watson, stay here and observe.
All right, Holmes.
According to this, they have light and moisture control in some parts of the building. The power is on. The engine cannot be started. The engine has stopped. The ventilation system is working.
Vamos falar com o Watson agora, ver o que a gente descobre.
Né?
Agora só eu preciso descobrir onde está o Watson. Acho que eu achei ele. E aí, Watson, caiu?
Now we need to see if we can activate the fans from Mr. Hamish's and Albert's space.
Tá. Vamos procurar o lugar aqui dos dois. Carne assado montado. Aqui é o laboratório.
This is a table for
Nada aqui.
Here it
Fotógrafo
is.
320. Fotógrafo não, fonógrafo. Vou ouvir.
These plants, classified as shrubs or grasses, have adapted to their arid environment due to a system of underground roots.
This recording seems very long. It is unnecessary to listen to all of it. Miss White was in the laboratory, as she told us.
We can see the interior of the Colonial Collection Room from this window. Excellent. This ventilation fan is working. Let us see if I can activate the other one. We can see the interior of the Colonial Collection Room from this window. We can see the interior of the Colonial Collection.
Aí, Watts, alguma coisa?
Now we need to see if we can activate...
Tá, nada.
From here, we are unable to see the interior of the Colonial Collection Room. Perfect. Now I just need to find Watson to check the result.
It worked perfectly, Holmes. Bravo. Now, if you could just help me to get rid of these caterpillars.
Perfect. Now we know how the murder of Montague Dunn was carried out, by activating both Albert's and Mr. Hamish's fans.
But only from Mr. Hamish's workplace would it be possible to see when Montague Dunn entered the Colonial Collection Room. Let's go to Scotland Yard.
Vamos conversar com o Sr. Hamish como suspeito agora. Lestrade, seja útil, por favor.
Inspector, I believe that Martin Hamish is guilty of the murder of Montague Dunn.
Aha! I knew it. I'll send the lads around to arrest him.
Very good. I shall wait to hear from you.
Inspector, I came here as quickly as I could.
Martin Hamish is in the large glass house. There's no need to hurry.
Holmes, my God!
Yes, we found him like that.
Our messing around with the ventilation system didn't go unnoticed. Mr. Hamish realized that we knew.
Inspector, could you arrange the body, please? I should like to examine it.
Tá, preula.
Holmes, his left shoe is unique. This anomaly is often a characteristic of...
A club foot. Bravo, Watson. That is the key element of this case. The mark around the neck is very visible. He died instantly.
Começou a ventar aí? Maravilha. Quem sabe refresca um pouco.
Something about this rings very oddly.
Why do you say that, Mr. Holmes?
Why? Because of Mr. Hamish's club foot. Oh, I deserve to be kicked from here to Charing Cross. I should have noticed it.
But, Mr. Holmes, I can't see why.
No, I don't suppose you do. You must recall that Mr. Dunn was locked inside the Colonial Collection Room by the murderer. If it was Mr. Hamish, he would have had to run up to his workplace to trigger the fan situated above it, taking into consideration the condition of his foot.
Well, it is still possible.
Perhaps, but it is rather strange that such a person as Mr. Hamish decided to base his plan on the speed of his gait.
You mean to say that somebody helped him?
So the suicide is questionable?
Correct. Mr. Hamish accuses only himself in his letter, and so the investigation stops.
Possibly an accomplice, then? That idea had not occurred to me, Mr. Holmes.
I have another idea, Inspector. Thanks to the testimony that we have collected, we are able to rebuild the events as they took place that day.
With a timeline, such as we did in the Jack the Ripper case.
Precisely.
The map at the entrance of Kew Gardens should help us with our timeline.
Let us analyze the facts and statements so that we may recreate the events of that morning.
A primeira coisa que ele fez foi encontrar a menina. Depois encontrou o... Deixa eu ver. Ô, louco, meu.
Posso saber que meta é essa? Se você continua vivo, é porque eu não traduzi nenhuma palavra do que você disse. Isso não funciona assim. Não há possibilidade de diálogo. Reconheça todas as acusações e cale-se. Por que você não se iluda, padre? Eu odeio tudo o que você representa. Por isso estou aqui, para lutar e morrer por alguma coisa que vale a pena. Nada é como se imagina, mas é melhor um segundo de verdade do que toda uma vida de mentiras. Você prega indagações sobre justiça? Tudo isso foi provocado por gente como você, que com palavras bonitas viram a cara, quando as mortes já acumulam milhares. É isso que você viu, tá? Existem outros dois prisioneiros. Um jornalista e uma mulher de uma ONG. Os três vão ser executados amanhã, ao amanhecer.
Bem-vindo de volta, Justiça.
Porque se não apoiar algumas das outras, quem mais vai fazer? Obrigada.
Let us summarize. Montague Dunn was poisoned inside the Colonial Collection Room. He forced open the door, which means that someone locked him inside there at 10:20. Martin Hamish was last seen at 10:10. This means that he has approximately 10 minutes to lock the door of the Colonial Collection Room. Given that he was club-footed, it is doubtful. Albert also has 10 minutes to lock the door of the Colonial Collection Room, which is quite enough time. Miss White was last seen at 10 o'clock, which means that she had approximately 20 minutes to lock the door. More than enough time.
Perfect, Watson. Now, let us ascertain who assisted Martin Hamish in killing Montague Dunn.
É, parece que... Isso é divertido. Eu gosto de gato.
But Holmes, how can you be certain that we'll find Miss White here?
It is obvious, Watson. Just use your brain.
I am using it. I do use it.
Now that the rope has tightened around Martin Hamish, Miss White must act to erase all traces of her implication. After the suicide of her accomplice, there is one final trace remaining: the deadly plants of the Divine Syndicate. She will be there.
Very good. Shall we go?
Just one moment. Now listen to me, Watson. I shall see her alone. You will conceal yourself behind her, quietly.
Whatever are you planning?
Nothing spectacular. The impulses of women have always been a mystery to me. But she is a bold one, and so we must be cautious.
All right. You can count on me, Holmes.
Mr. Holmes, good day to you.
You do not seem surprised, Miss White.
Well, I was expecting you.
Not for too long, I believe. So please tell me, as it is still unclear, who planned the murder? Was it you?
You were wrong, Mr. Holmes.
It was Martin Hamish, then. You managed to convince him to take on a more prominent role.
You could not be further from the truth.
You think that you can fool me?
You don't care what I think.
It is difficult to care about someone who is capable of pushing a man to his suicide. It is over, Miss White. The police will be here any minute.
Over, perhaps. One moment you were here, and the next, you were on the other side.
The other side? No! Stop! I beg you not to do this, Miss White.
Don't come any closer.
Please remain calm. We can help you.
Not one step further. Don't try to stop me.
Stop this foolishness. You cannot truly want to die.
No, it's too late.
Well done, Watson. She was not faking.
Miss White, you have no right to take your own life.
Dr. Watson? Did you just save me? Or worse?
Bom, com isso começamos mais um caso e terminamos o caso Jardim, finalmente. Vamos ver qual é o próximo caso. Esse caso, o caso do Jardim terminou. Foram 2 lives, o GX. Agora eu vou derrubar a live, trocar o título e já volto. 5 minutinhos. Só para os casos ficarem separados bonitinho. Até daqui a pouco.